friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And we're now, welcome to Going In Raw, Standing Up Edition. Talking about CM Punk Edition right now.
Okay.
Yeah, why are we sitting down? We're standing up right now. We don't do that, and we only do that for the countdown show.
Well, we were shooting something else where we were standing up, so thought we'd just stand up.
You're letting them in behind the curtain.
Instead of moving this table back over here, which we just moved over there.
We're building another our stand-up exclusive set over there.
Okay, sure.
Anyways, we're going to talk about CM Punk. A lot of you people out there have been asking us ever since the CM Punk massacre at UFC 203. Hey, Steven Larson, what do you guys think about the CM Punk? CM Punk. And he gets a lot of views on our channel, so fuck it, we're going to talk about CM Punk for a little while.
Okay.
Talk about this match. Talk about maybe where he goes from here. Because he said some interesting things in his press conference. Dana White said some interesting things.
Let's start closer to... Not really the beginning, because that takes us all the way back to 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Let's start beginning of fight week.
Okay. So here's the thing. This is where I stood on CM Punk. So the past 2.5 years, I have been firmly convinced that he had a 0% chance to do anything in the cage except get massacred.
See, me not knowing anything about what MMA fighters do to prepare or train, I thought he wouldn't do it unless he thought he had a chance to compete. So... yeah, I'll give him a try.
We'll talk
give him a chance.
We'll talk about that in a little bit too.
Okay.
Because I think there's a difference between intelligently understanding what it takes to win and being delusional. You know what I mean? And I think there might be some sort of differentiation there.
What I think it is we always had this disagreement in terms of his motivation.
Right.
You thought he just wanted the experience.
Yeah.
And I thought he wouldn't do it unless he thought he had a chance to win.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. He just wanted the experience of fighting in a UFC ring in that environment. Because he said last night after the fight that it was like one of the happiest days of his life.
And I also think, well, there's two things about that statement though. I really wonder if it was. Because that's something that he's never the kind of guy who's going to admit defeat. He's never going to admit that anybody's right. And I don't know if he thought... I think we differed in this. What you said is true, especially in your half. But my half, the flip side of that was he's going to go in there, not just for the experience, but he's going to go in there. If he thought to himself, I'm about to get annihilated. I've done everything I could, but I still completely and totally understand I'm going to get annihilated. He would still do it because of what you said, for the experience.
Yeah.
And that's where I was coming from. And you were saying, well, you didn't think he would do it unless he thought he had a chance.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to do it no matter what. Because
yeah.
He's the kind of guy who puts his money where his mouth is.
Yeah.
Say what you will about CM Punk, he is that guy.
Yeah.
So from the moment he signed until a week ago, I gave him zero chance. No chance whatsoever. Thought he was going to get massacred. And that deep down, I still thought that.
Yeah.
The narrative that the UFC was able to craft leading up to the fight in the week prior. I didn't watch any of the evolution of Punk or whatever because that just sounds like it's blowing smoke up that dude's ass. But I did pay attention somewhat to their programming.
Yeah.
I read the little thing that he posted, the blog post he posted on Players Tribune. And I thought to myself, if he has a chance to win, it's going to be because I did feel, listening to him and reading what he wrote, that he didn't have any pressure on him. And I still feel that way.
Yeah.
I feel like he didn't have, and if you look at the way he acted, the weigh-in leading up to it, walking out to the ring, he did really look like the happiest guy ever.
Yeah, he did.
He really did. Whether or not he was in the very end when he lost so bad, I don't know, simply because he looked like he was like, why did I just do what I did? Not in terms of, I shouldn't have done this, in terms of, why did I just run at that guy's legs and let him take me down so easily? But I felt that maybe the pressure that Mickey Gall had on him, in terms of all this shine is on Punk, you know, if he might be 37, he might be old, he might have zero MMA experience, but it's still two guys in a cage. If he grabs me in one spot that I'm unprotected, he might be able to get the upper hand.
But also, Mickey Gall was putting forth a narrative that beating Punk was his pathway to stardom, essentially.
Right.
For him to get a chance in UFC.
Right.
That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
To put on oneself.
It is. It absolutely is. And then you look at the flip side of that and CM Punk, he's got 1,000,001 options. You know, he can step away from that and do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, like going into it, I was like, oh, maybe has a chance. But what we saw was illustrated with the fact that he really had no chance whatsoever, because what he did was I would never step in a ring like that. I would never do that. I'm a giant pussy. But I can guarantee you, if I get in that ring with somebody, a cage with somebody, I'm going to evaluate him a little bit first. I'm not going to go running right at his legs into surefire loss, because that's what he did. And that was like, I was like, did his butterfly, did he just have butter? Did he just like overextend his reach? This is his big moment. For 2.5 years he's been built up, and he bolted for his legs, and he got nothing out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, this dude is so tall. I mean, he's only an inch taller than Punk.
Yeah.
He had a longer reach.
A reach advantage,
a
yeah.
slight reach advantage.
Yeah.
But he's so rail thin, and he's young, so his muscle's tough.
Yeah.
And he was just able to bend Punk in the way he wanted to. Granted,
Yeah.
Punk slipped out of a hold once or twice.
Yeah, Punk actually, he didn't look terrible defending himself on the ground.
Yeah.
I mean,
he was able to intelligently defend himself to a point.
I don't think it was a situation where I think he was scared or freaked out that he was in that situation. I just don't think he knew what to do.
I think you're right. Yeah.
I think he didn't seem like he was panicking at all.
No, I don't think he was panicking. If he panicked, he'd been tapping just like
that.
Yeah. I do think that shooting straight to the dude's legs was just either a really, really bad strategy, or that was overzealous.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see him being overzealous and being like, okay, maybe I'll surprise him or something like that. So, I don't know. Everybody's, one of the biggest things on my Twitter feed was sort of, I can't wait till he loses. He's going to come crawling back to WWE. I will almost guarantee you at this point, you will never. I think a win from Punk might have led him 5 years down the line, maybe, to be back in the WWE in some capacity.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
A loss, almost surely no.
Yeah.
Almost surely no. Because he's a very proud guy.
Yes.
And so I think he did say a couple interesting things in the lead up to the match. One of which was, if he ever did come back to wrestling,
it would be with New Japan, right?
It'd be with New Japan, which, you know me, I've been watching the streaming stuff from New Japan World. I would love that. I think that'd be fantastic.
Another interview he gave before the fight, he said that when he got started wrestling, his goal was never to make it to WWE. His goal was to go to Japan.
Yeah.
Because he could go over there, wrestle for a few weeks, make money, come home, and then not be recognized.
Mm-hmm. I wonder about that.
Whether it's a bit of revisionist history?
I would think so. I would really think so. Because he doesn't seem like the kind of guy who would just go there to go there. But, I mean, he says it, so who am I to doubt it? And I think that if he really wanted to go to Japan, he could have easily just gone to Japan.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know how much of that's true, but I mean, he says it. Who am I to knock the guy? I would love to see him in New Japan. I think it'd be absolutely fantastic. I love everything that's going on over there right now. I want to see him fight Captain New Japan.
Well, let's talk about some of the things that were said post-fight.
The most interesting thing to me that he said post-fight is reflective of a lot of the attitudes in terms of him actually being in the UFC. And that was, he said his original intention was to do this somewhere else on a lower level.
Yeah.
But then that opportunity came via Dana White,
Yeah.
who, by the way, also said CM Punk's next fight is probably not going to be in the UFC.
Which means it's definitely not going to be in the UFC.
It's definitely not going to be in the UFC. And the thing is, everybody in that community who interacts with Punk seems to really, really like him.
Yeah.
He seems to be very welcome with open arms. Conor McGregor said he doesn't think he's a pussy. He's earned his respect. Everybody was really rooting for this guy.
And some people in the wrestling community
were
very supportive. Yeah. Like Samoa Joe put a tweet out.
Joe did. McFoley did. Yeah. So it makes me wonder if that's the thing that's going to, number one, I mean, if everybody does like him that much, and it seems like they do, that's a really, it turns that story into sort of what we saw play out. He really didn't deserve to be there, but it's a good story.
Yeah.
And it's like this is a kind of a heartwarming-ish story. Granted, he got his ass whooped, but it's like a million movies out there.
Yeah, he even did the speech after the fight saying, "Don't give up on your dreams. If anybody tells you can't do something,
exactly.
Tell them to fuck off. You can do it." I shouldn't have said fuck. 'Cause apparently on YouTube you can't say that word anymore.
No, you can say fuck. You can't show nipples. Ricky and Elliott showed a nipple on
a male nipple or female?
No,
nipple?
female nipple. I think it was on accident. They fixed it later.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't think you were allowed to do that.
No, you're not allowed.
Because I was scared there for a second. Because there's a male nipple, Vince Russo's nipple. In
God!
And our worst face and heel turns.
That's gonna be worse. That's gonna be. We're gonna get dinged harder for that.
Yeah, I didn't know if we could do that.
Oh, gross. Anyway, we can say fuck. Who cares?
Okay.
So, anyways, what were we talking about? CM Punk. Oh yeah, and his thing.
Yeah, the narrative kind of came full circle with that speech.
Yeah, everybody sort of rallied behind him. I wonder, now that he's going to be out of the fight game, or at least at that level.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll put it this way. He seemed to really, really relish being one of the fighters.
Yeah.
And so he's going to have to live with not being one of the fighters anymore. Doing panel discussions with Cowboy Cerrone and stuff like that.
Well, he might, if say he trains for another fight and it's in some smaller organization, it'll really see if he has a passion for MMA or if he just wanted to be in UFC.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So if say in 2 years he trains and he takes another fight in some regional promotion, and he can do the same, he can do the press and all that kind of stuff, and it'd be great for that regional promotion even in 2 years.
Yeah.
He can have another fight. Will he win?
Yeah.
But we'll see if he really is dedicated, as you said, to seeing this thing through.
And you've always said this before, that if nothing else, UFC got bought out by a different, I don't know, WWE.
No, it was
William Morris.
William Morris, yeah.
Exactly. So they have new ownership. I've heard rumors that Joe Rogan might be, he's on the last year of his contract, I believe, so he might be interested in moving on. CM Punk might be the perfect guy because now he's got that experience in the cage, the big lights on him.
Yeah. He would be a great commentator.
And he'd be a fantastic commentator. He really would. I don't know if he's the kind of guy who wants to comment and not do.
Yeah.
But if he was able to take on that as sort of a part-time gig where he just shows up to the pay-per-views, then that might be something that he's really interested in. That would sort of, he would still be within the community.
Yeah, he would be. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, he said also in his press conference, I'm not sure where I go from here. He's got a career writing comic books for Marvel, so that's really cool. But I don't know. I think he's probably. I would imagine that emotionally he'll have to be dealing with, oh my God, I did this big thing, this big journey of mine, and now it's over. Now what do I do? Which is probably exciting and terrifying, and
I mean, if he had somehow won, the next step would have presented itself just obviously. Okay, you won one fight, time for fight two.
Yeah.
But now, since he lost in such convincing fashion, where do you go from here?
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm sure he's going to keep on writing comics. He seemed to really enjoy doing that stuff with Nerdist back in the day when at first he left the WWE. So it'll be really interesting to see where he goes. I mean, I would honestly think, as much as I would love to see him in New Japan, he seems like the kind of guy who would probably just keep on keeping on and moving on to different projects.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, you're kind of too old to go back to anywhere. So
and even if he waits 5 years, if he can keep himself in shape wherever he ends up going, if he does wrestle again, he's such a captivating performer.
Yeah.
He'll be popular.
Yeah.
Instantly.
So So, I mean, congratulations, CM Punk, on seeing through your dream. And congratulations, me, for calling the fact that he was going to get massacred in the cage.
I don't know much about UFC, so.
You going to raise my hand?
No.
You raised my hand?
You didn't win anything.
I predicted it.
So? I predicted that AJ would win at Backlash. You didn't raise my hand. All right. I'm still not going to raise yours.
You're not going to raise my hand?
Nope.
You said it was the samesies.
No. Heel Larson. No two-sweeting. No hand raising. Across the board. You gonna storm off now? Thanks. We'll talk to you guys later.